If you've watched much TV through the years, you've seen people have prenups, right? Prenuptial agreements. And you think, you know what? I'm not Jeff Bezos. I'm not Donald Trump. I don't have billions of dollars. I don't need a prenup. I don't have enough money to fight over. But if you're young and you're about to get married, you've got the whole rest of your life in front of you, you probably are going to build a business. You're probably going to gain assets. You're probably going to build a retirement plan. And you need to make sure that all this, for instance, all this maybe family inheritance you brought into the marriage, if you want to protect that, the only way to protect that is through a prenuptial agreement. Or maybe it's not even an inheritance. Maybe you've got some land that was given to you by family, and it's very important for that land to stay in your family, to your family. You can create whatever you want to as far as a prenuptial agreement, as long as both sides are represented and both sides get advice from counsel about whether or not it's a fair agreement to enter into. And look, you may even choose over the advice of counsel to enter into this agreement for whatever reason. That's your business. You can do what you want to do. But you probably need a prenuptial agreement if you're young, if you've got potential to earn a lot, if you know at some point you're going to have some inheritance coming in, for instance, maybe you don't have a lot right now, but you have a potential to have a lot in the future. A prenuptial agreement simply means an agreement made before you're married. It's going to be a contract basically between you and your spouse where if you unfortunately do wind up in divorce in the future, you already decided in the past how assets are going to be divided up and if that other party would be entitled to anything you built up during the marriage or you brought into the marriage. So prenups can be a very valuable tool in your marriage. Keep in mind, a prenup is basically a contract between you and your spouse. And so if you either have a lot of money that you brought into the relationship through an inheritance, or maybe at some point you're going to inherit some money, maybe you know great grandma's got a bunch of money and a lot of land down there in a big old farm and you're going to get it one day and you don't want the other spouse to have that or have any share of it, a prenup is a way to protect your family inheritance. You may think, you know what, I don't have much right now, but you know it's going to be coming at some point in the future. A prenup is a really effective way to protect assets and make sure that whatever you want to do right now is what's going to happen in the future. It's hard to imagine anything less romantic as you're getting ready for your wedding than to talk business and talk about, we need a prenuptial agreement. You think, she's not going to love me. She's going to think I am planning to divorce her if I ask for a prenuptial agreement. Or maybe she's going to think, my daddy is making me do this, and so I'm always going to be under their thumb. I don't know what you're thinking, but the truth is, it's so much better to have a conversation right now, as difficult as it may be, than waiting until it's too late. And then you have something happen to assets you or your family have built up over a long period of time that you don't want to get divided like it's going to happen under the normal law. If you will take the time and the effort right now to have a difficult conversation for a minute to save a world of heartache in the future, I promise you it's worth it. So don't worry about having a hard conversation. Take time, sit down, maybe over a nice dinner, maybe even with flowers or something like that. But say, hey, honey, we've got to have this tough talk. We're going to have, in the future, things could happen. I know that, but it's better to be prepared than to be scared. Many Alabamians are so afraid of even talking about a prenup because you think, we're just planning to get a divorce. No, you're not. You're planning for what inevitably happens to about 50% of marriages. Nobody goes into a marriage planning to get divorced. I know that. But the reality is, many families wind up in divorce court. And if you know that could be on the horizon for you in the future, it's so smart right now, before your marriage even begins, to get a prenuptial agreement called a prenup that you and your spouse can talk through. Everybody has an understanding going in exactly what we're looking at. It's not a scary thing. I don't think it sets you up for failure. What I think it does, it lets both of you know, okay, we're going into this with our eyes wide open. We know what to expect, and we know what we're going to get in the end. It's a smart decision, and although the conversation may be hard right now, you should talk to your fiance about having a prenup before you go in front of that preacher. So if marriage is on the horizon for you and you have some things, or you think you might have some things in the future that you might have to fight over if you wind up in divorce court, I encourage you to reach out to our office right now about a prenuptial agreement. We'd love to talk to you and help you know how you can have the best deal you can if your marriage does end.